everyone, I'm Kim St. Martin, and I'm here today with Megan Walsh. We are celebrating NCII turning 10 years old. Megan and I are going to discuss how in Michigan we're using the taxonomy of intervention intensity to increase educators' use of evidence-based practices within the state of Michigan. One of the ways that we're doing that is we authored a foundational document in collaboration with NCII and other researchers across the country titled Intensifying Literacy Instruction Essential Practices. Megan's going to hone in on one particular essential practice from that document.
Yeah, one of the essential practices identified in that document was selecting intensive intervention platforms to serve as the foundation for intensifying intervention. And what we found was that that practice is essential. Obviously, it's in the practices guide, but we also find it's really difficult to implement. And luckily, NCII advocates a tool that can help with this, the Taxonomy of Intervention Intensity, a tool developed by Fuchs, and Malone in 2017. That tool provides a way for administrators and educators alike to rate interventions intensity along 6 different dimensions, among those strength, dosage, alignment, transfer, comprehensiveness, or explicit instruction principles, and behavioral support. The taxonomy is a really, really valuable tool, but it's not always easy to implement, especially for educators and administrators. And so what we've done is we've kind of tried to take some of the difficult aspects of that away. Kim and I sat down about 1.5 years ago, and we practiced using the taxonomy with like real life Michigan interventions, the ones that were being used in schools across our state. And through that process, we kind of realized, okay, we need a toolbox to help make this a little bit more accessible for educators. And so we've spent kind of this last year kind of using NCI's resource library, if you will, to create kind of a curated collection and a toolbox to support our educators in using the taxonomy. This toolbox includes kind of a diagnostic data collection guide to help our educators determine what diagnostic data they need to collect for their students, and kind of links them to the different diagnostic measures, some of which have come from NCII's library. And then they use that diagnostic data then to complete a strengths and needs inventory on their individual students. And then that in turn can help them decide which intervention aligns best to their students' strengths and needs. We've created a curated intervention collection, and we gathered research articles for them. We know that many educators don't have access to university databases. A lot of them may not know how to extract an effect size or calculate an effect size on their own, or what the difference is between an empirical study and correlational research, for example. And so we've kind of taken some of that legwork out of this process for them by creating kind of these summaries and snapshots of the studies, again, using that NCII tools chart and some other resources. And then we've also kind of adapted NCII's taxonomy rubric for to kind of be used in the intervention selection process. And all of this, we hope, as we've kind of made this taxonomy, we hope more accessible to some of our educators. We're hoping that then they'll be able to use the taxonomy and use the information we've provided them to create really individualized intensive intervention plans. And then as they use data and collect data on their students, to adapt those plans to better meet the needs of their students through data-based individualization. And our hope is that as we remove barriers and we work with educators to give them the professional training they need, our hope is that we are going to meet the needs of more and more students in our state, because we know students with disabilities, students in need of acceleration, like they need this support. And so we're really hopeful that through creating these tools, and as we launch a model demonstration project in the fall, that we're gonna see the scaling up of evidence-based practices around intensive intervention here in Michigan.
Thank you, Megan. So next year's a really exciting year for us within the state of Michigan. Megan and I have our contact information here for you. You also have our website information, and please subscribe to the MyMTSS Technical Assistance Center YouTube channel. the professional learning that Megan was just referring to, those types of modules are going to be uploaded and available for educators across the country. So lots of exciting things, and we're really thankful to be here. Happy birthday, NCII. We really appreciate your support. Thanks, everyone.